welcome to the Adelaide Oval for Willow Talk Extras, wrapping up day 3. Well, and the final end of the test, the second test here at the Adelaide Oval. We're Izzy Westbury here with Haddin and Callum Ferguson. And my goodness me, this match has accelerated away from itself. A quick summary of things that have happened. Australia won by 10 wickets. I can't believe that this has happened after the mauling that they got in that first test, but there we are. Level the series, 1-1. Mitch Starc dismissed Rishabh Pant in the first over. Of course it was the first over of the day, and it was pretty much all Australia from there. Pat Cummins took his 13th 5-wicket haul to bowl out India for 175. There was a lead. It was a very small lead at that, yes. 18 runs it was, with Nitish Kumar Reddy top scoring with 42. He's done that, I think, 3 out of 4 times so far in this series. And the Aussies, they did drop a couple of catches, but it wasn't too shabby. Goodness me, gents, that was quite the mauling from Australia.
Wow, I mean, it feels like they've hit the ground running every morning of the Test match so far, particularly day 1. I mean, they were under so much pressure coming into this Test match after a tough one over in Perth. But for Mitch Starc to come out and hit him where it hurts first up, first ball of the Test match, and then his performance in his second spell was equally as impressive to really set the tone for the Australians, Hads.
You know what? I think it was a really good toss to lose, because we've seen time and time again this fast bowling group stand up every time they were challenged. And they were challenged after the Perth Test match. There was a lot of questions on how they're going to play Bumrah, how are we going to get through this, having India got the better of us. But it wasn't to be. The way Mitchell Starc started, the dominant batting performance from Travis Head, and these fast bowlers, they found something out there in this Test match. They took it personally, the loss in Perth. They went after the Indian batsmen. We've seen the tail today. I really like when an Australian team goes after a tail like that and make life uncomfortable. It shows it means something to them. It shows they're all together. And that was a really, really dominant display from a very hungry Australian team.
So a really good all-round performance from the home side. Ferg, was there anything in particular that Australia can really hang their hat on and say, yeah, we did that really well compared to the last test, certainly?
Well, I'll tell you what is going to be a big difference maker going forward. It's the start that I think McSweeney and Labuschagne gave the Australians in that second innings. In the cauldron, under lights, Bumrah, in-form bowlers all the way through the Indian lineup, and the way they stood up, took the ball by the horns, 1 for 86 overnight on the back of a fantastic bowling display on day 1. That really set the Australians up, and as Travis Head spoke to us on Triple M earlier on today, that enabled the middle order of the Australians, and particularly himself, he gave them a lot of credit, to flourish later in the day on day 2 and really give Australia a huge ascendancy.
Has this test has finished within 3 days, which gives both sides a little bit more breathing space, but it's only 5 days now until they go to Brisbane. Is there anything that Australia need to work on in the interim?
Well, I tell you what, it's only gone 3 days, but if you have a look at the crowd here, I reckon this Australian team is going to party for 2. So don't worry about the short turnaround. They're going to enjoy themselves for the next 2 days. I think what they got out of this test match was the way the 2 openers played to get through that period. I know we lost Khawaja early, but Marnus and McSweeney came out and played. That was the worst time to bat.
Oh, yeah.
Bumrah was on fire, and I think in that moment there, India missed a little trick. There's a bit of a confrontation. I know we spoke about this before, Izzy, between Bumrah and Marnus, and then he took himself off. New captain. I reckon if Bumrah was captain, he would have had 2 more overs, went after Marnus then, and recognised the moment. So throughout the whole Test match, I just think Australia won all those big moments. Travis Head went out to back. The game could have gone either way. If you just have a listen to now, Travis Head has just walked out the back to start his first beer, so that's what the big cheer's about. But when he walked out to bat, the game was on a knight's edge as well. The way he went about his game, took the bowling on, and straight away we've seen a body language change in India, and then you could feel Australia started to believe that we can change this momentum and make India make decisions they didn't want to make.
Australia responding to a number of criticisms off the back of that first test, one of which was that Pat Cummins, his bowling speeds were a bit down. He looked a little bit undercooked, but my goodness, did he use the short ball to really good effect here in Adelaide. Cal, are we going to see a bit more of that short stuff over in the Gabba?
I think we will. There'll be pace and bounce at the Gabba, and the Australian captain made a statement in this Test match. He came out and really answered some critics. A lot of people came out and questioned his lead up to the series. You're not going to be at your best every time you front up, but he still competed well in Perth. Wasn't at his best, But what he did do is he found his rhythm here, and he really did put a marker down. And I think there's a few in the Indian camp that were a bit, whoa, hang on a second, because there are a couple of short balls that shocked the hell out of their top order.
India's batting order. I know Kohli scored a century in the second innings in, I guess, quite docile conditions in that first test. But both Rohit Sharma, Virat Kohli, and frankly the whole of India's top batting order are not really doing anything. Nitish Kumar Reddy, top scoring in 3 of the 4 innings. Are they going to have a look at their batting order, India?
Well, just like the Australian team, when you get behind in the game, you need your big players to stand up. And time again, we're seeing Kohli and Rohit Sharma stand up in big moments. But they haven't done it for a long time. And the one thing Australia, I think, recognised really well during this test match is when those guys came out to bat, the intensity jumped. They made life uncomfortable for them. They got in their face a bit, and they made them play the ball early. We've seen that with Virat Kohli in the second innings. They made him play early. He was just caught on the crease. And that's what you've got to do. When you've got players like that down, you can't give them the little moments to get away and get some rhythm in the series. So Australia are outstanding with the ball. They were great with the bat, but they also recognised those moments and didn't allow players like Rohit Sharma, Virat Kohli to get started and feel comfortable at the wicket.
So India, problems already with the bat, but with the ball, I mean, McSweeney and Khawaja, they look so comfortable polishing off that. A very small total it really was. But Bumrah really is the only threatening seamer at the moment for India. Does he need some help, Cal?
Look, I think they do. I think he does, and I think they will provide it. What I would suggest is they showed a lot of skill on that first night. After they got bowled out, they showed a lot of skill, the ability to move the ball off the straight, but they didn't hit the stumps, Izzy. And that's something that Bumrah does so well consistently. And I just think it was a little bit of an experience from the rest of the bowling attack. So Mohammad Siraj, you'd probably be a little bit disappointed in that he didn't get at the stumps a little bit more. But the other two, they're young, they're vibrant, they're up and about, but they weren't able to hit the stumps, and it allowed Marnus to get away, and also Nathan McSweeney, and didn't they bat well? So they're going to have to find an answer going to the Gabba, because that is one place that if you pitch the ball up and get the stumps in play, the slips cordon comes into the equation.
I tell you what was different this test with the bowling is Bumrah didn't have 3 wickets in his first spell. And all of a sudden, then Raina and Siraj, they have to produce. They've got to find a way to get the Australian batsmen out. And they were bowling to top order batters. They had to plan this test match to get through Bumrah. And the one thing they did, they gave up bowler LB. They looked to hit the ball. They were really proactive to get off strike. But once he didn't get that early inroads, the Indian bowlers come up a little bit short. So they're going to have to go away and work on, if Bumrah doesn't get the wickets early, how are we going to build pressure? Ashwin's a big player there, but Travis Head, he took to him, got him out of the attack. So there are little things in the game that India are going to have to look at going into the third test.
Well, talking about bowlers not having much of an impact, there was one bowler who didn't really have an opportunity to make much of an impact, and that was Nathan Lyon. He bowled 1 over, scored 4 not out, didn't take a catch. Easiest thanks for coming out there.
I think Nathan Lyon's going to have the biggest impact on this test match.
Carry on.
Post game.
He is wonderful
Nathan
performer
Lyon
away
is
from
the
it.
leader of the song. And he walked over here before. He's fresh. He's very thirsty.
He has energy to expend.
He's ready to roll.
And he's got 2 days off. So Nathan Lyon is going to get 3 votes in about an hour and a half.
Well, talking about rowdy receptions and things to come, you can hear the crowd behind us.
They're loving it.
It's lovely here at Adelaide Oval. They've opened up the outfield to allow the fans onto the pitch and also to come and get autographs from whoever it is. I mean, Travis Head is probably the man in demand. Talking about Travis Head, of course, there's a lot of talk about the send-off he was given after having smashed a runnable 140. And there's been a few words in between, because Head took the press conference yesterday and he said that all that he had said to Mohammad Siraj was, oh, well bowled. Now, Mohammad Siraj has shared his side of the story of the send-off and said that he didn't say well bowled. He said something else and therefore reacted to that. Is that the end of the story, chaps?
Who cares?
What great theatre.
Oh, that's just 100% right. 50,000 people got involved in the game. It was an incident, we see it time and time again in big series where emotion get the better of people. No one was harmed, the crowd came into the game. That's what we want to see.
You know what? I absolutely love what Mohammad Siraj brings to a test series. He brings energy, he competes. He may not have got it right the whole time in this game with the ball, but what he did is he got in their face, the Australians, and he wanted to try and bowl his side back into the game. And that's what we love here in Australia, people that compete. We also love a villain. And he has delivered a villain like no other for a long time. When was the last time we heard 50,000 in a sold-out stadium boo one man? So I love that he's brought some character to the game.
It wasn't an Englishman, frankly. I think I'm all in favour.
I'll tell you what he's going to have to do in Brisbane is field in the ring. Because if he's on the boundary in Brisbane, look out.
Although he was playing up for the crowd, I think he quite enjoys it a little bit as well. Well,
he didn't enjoy
gentlemen, this series has lit up on the pitch, has lit up off the pitch. We only have a 5-day break now until Brisbane. Hats, who does that favour?
Well, I think it favours both teams. What it does do, it gives the bowlers an extra couple of days to have a break, so they'll come in fresh again. And it'll give Josh Hazlewood an opportunity, maybe, to see where he's at. We heard before the test match it wasn't as severe as we first thought, so he'll have a couple of days to be able to bowl and see if he's right for that third test. So I think both teams will enjoy the couple of days off. Indian batters, we've seen they were out the nets later this afternoon. They were out having a good long hit, so they'll get some work done, getting ready for the test match in Brisbane. So I think both teams will enjoy the break.
Kat, I was able to have a little chat with one of the Indian support staff, and they said coming into Adelaide, they kind of thought it's a bit of a lottery. It's a pink ball test. You don't really know what's going to happen. It could go either way. But they did seem a little bit worried about what might await them in Brisbane. Is there such thing as momentum going into the next test?
Oh, look, I think there is. I've always believed in momentum, albeit Mitch Starc completely flipped it on its head very early, and that's what you got to do. You got to have match turners, game changers, and that's what Australia have got. I think Australia have got an opportunity to continue that momentum coming out of this one. None down, chasing 19 at the end. That's fantastic momentum going into the next test match. And I think they should be a little bit concerned about the conditions that will await them over at the Gabba. Australia have got a fantastic record up there. However, India showed over in Perth they can handle a bouncy wicket over there that's got some pace in it. So, look, I think this series could not be poised any better. I cannot wait to see what awaits us up at the Gabba.
Well, Australia have absolutely battered India in this test match, the men's test match. But I also think I know today, that another one was going up in Brisbane between Australia and India, the women's side, and Australia absolutely battered them there as well. So it's been a good day all round for Australia, and I'm delighted to say that we're joined by Adelaide strikers and South Australia's own Jemma Barsby to take us through. Can you give us an update, or it's probably over by now, the Australia-India ODI up in Brisbane?
Yeah, like you said, one flogging here in the Adelaide Test, another flogging in Brisbane too. So,
can you tell I'm surrounded by Australians here?
Yeah, it's a good day for Australia, winning in both formats. We had Elise Perry scoring 100 and Georgia Voll in her second match scoring 100 as well. So, yeah, the Aussie men are going well, and so are the Aussie women.
There's a lot of chat about sort of the end of an era for some of the batters involved in the men's test series. Steve Smith, Virat Kohli, Rohit Sharma. But somebody that seems to be getting better and better with age is Elise Perry. What a wonderful innings that was.
Yeah, absolutely, especially to carry on from Georgia Voll's form. Especially when she got out, she carried the team there to go on and make 100 as well. And yeah, like you said, she just keeps getting better and better. And as more the cricket's getting developed in the women's game, she's going with it, which is exciting to see.
So Australia's women bouncing back from what was a disappointing T20 World Cup. They seem to be got the wood over India. We've got the Women's Ashes coming up in the new year, which Triple M will be there and we'll be covering.
We will.
Should I be a little bit worried about what we might expect Australia-England?
Absolutely, you should always be worried being a form.
Can't see England taking a point.
All right. Well, Jemma, thank you very, very much. We're going to go on to the Secret Cricket Club questions. Moving on very swiftly. Thank you. Always worried, yes. Okay, thanks. Thanks very much, chaps. Peter asks, Australia are undefeated in pink ball matches. Should we play 5 pink ball tests this summer?
I think the one thing we've seen about the pink ball test match, I know it hasn't gone 5 days and every home state wants it, but the last 3 days here has been great theatre. It's been unbelievable. We had 50,000 the first 2 days. Had the local Travis Head dominate with the bat. The crowd's still here now, so the pink ball's here to stay. It's been a great contest.
I'm not sure we'll get 5 because I think the red ball across the country performs so well, and it's just great. We do get a lot of 5-day test matches, which is wonderful. I just think it's so special what they do here in Adelaide. Let's just make it a marquee event every year.
A thumping win like that, I mean, it does bring conundrums. This might be a good conundrum, but Michael asks, if Hazelwood is fit, does he come back into the team at Brisbane, or does Scotty Boland keep his spot?
He's world-class, Josh Hazelwood. We heard the start of the test match, it wasn't that serious, and we're hoping he's right for Brisbane, but someone of his standing in the game, he loves that wicket up at the Gabba, he comes straight back in.
So this series now, tied at 1-1. From the outside, it looks like it's a pretty close contest. But George asks, why do you think the first two tests have been a flogging, one side or the other, when everyone was expecting such close matches?
I think both bowling attacks are unbelievable. I think they're probably the best two in the world, or at least both are in the top three. So I think there's been just enough on offer, and once the bowling attacks have got on top, there's so much class about them, they've been able to dominate from there. So look, the batting sides have got a bit of work to do here. They've got to find some answers in this series at some point. I think they will. There's enough class through both lineups, so it's just a matter of time. However, neither bowling group's going to want to let go.
Another interesting question. We didn't even make it, I think, past the first session on day 3, and we've culminated, the match is already finished. Kartik asks, does too much T20 spoil the technique of test batting skills?
Oh, I don't think so. I think that's debate we've seen for a long time. Look at the way Marnus got through the last couple of days. He was really proactive in the way he got his mindset right. I don't think it's so much technique. I think it's mindset, the way you want to play. Travis Head showed that. He's got a 20-20 technique in the modern game, so they say, but he's getting runs every time he steps out to test cricket, one-day cricket, and 20-20. So I don't think that's the case.
Right then, it's a glorious, sunny Sunday afternoon. We've heard from you both what Nathan Lyon's going to be doing for the rest of the afternoon.
We want to go there, Izzy. We need to clock off.
This is the final question, and Mark asked it. He's already got ahead of you here, Hads. Will we see you in the Village Green after play today?
In about 30 seconds, you'll see me there with Callum Ferguson.
That's right. I'll be there. Neck deep in
just around the Darren Lehman statue, maybe in Rodney Marsh. It'd be good to have a beer around his little park there too, but we will be out there for the next 3.5 hours.
Well, Callum Ferguson, one of Adelaide's own, is going to show us the goods round here. We've got a Sunday afternoon to while away, but that is the end of the second test match. The series is 1-1. I'm Izzy Westbury, Callum Ferguson, Brad Haddin. It's goodbye for us.
Go the Aussies.
Yeah, thanks for watching the Willow Talk podcast on YouTube. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you don't have to miss an episode wherever you are. And while you're at it, check out these videos up here. They're mostly good.